What's going on, Black Business family? What's going on? Been a long time. Been a long time, but I'm back in the studio, back live in the Black Business Studios. It's your host, Dakari Urquhart, with the Black Business Matters Show. And today we talking about a good topic, man. And that topic is, man, are you still a slave? If you are you still a slave? And we're going to determine that by figuring out who is your master. So are you a slave, number one? And then if you're not a slave, who is your master? And if you are a slave, we like to know who is your master also. You know. And so this show is for both the enslaved and the free man, and both those that are enslaved. And hopefully those that are enslaved don't plan to be enslaved all their life and they got a plan to work towards their own freedom, because we do know that freedom is your obligation and your duty and responsibility as the individual who may not possess it at the time, but may have the ambition and the dream one day have that. And those who have their freedom, who you know what it took to obtain that and what it takes to maintain that. So we want to go in today and go in a little bit about who is your master, and let that be the determining criterion on the first question: are you a slave? And so a lot of people may say, man, shit, I'm not no slave, man. I don't care what you say. I don't care if I work or not. You know what I mean? But they saying that out of pride and arrogance and ignorance. The truth of the matter is that every human being is born with a certain set of gifts, talents, skills. And you have to master these gifts, talents, skills, etc., the things that the creator can give alone, and he gives, you have to master it. And so if you don't master it, then you become a slave. If you do master it, you become a master, an employer, a leader, a director, a project manager, etc. So all of these type of things, these are skills that must be mastered. If you see a doctor, you see that he mastered a certain set of skills. He's a fundamentalist. He mastered the fundamentals in basic medicine, etc. If you see a basketball player, they mastered the fundamentals of of basic, dribbling the ball, shooting the ball, passing the ball, doing the routines, doing the workouts, being a team player. You know what I mean? Listening to the coach, etc. Being coachable and teachable. They had mastered that, or they wouldn't make it to a certain level of what it is. They wouldn't be able to pay their bills with it. They wouldn't be able to maintain themselves. But just because they are a basketball player, does that mean necessarily that this basketball player is a free man, or is he owned? Is that you? I think you need to own a basketball team to be free. You see. And so what we talking about right now is that you know what I'm saying. We have some people that are doctors, but you still not free. You may work for the hospital. You owned by the director of that hospital, the medical director of that hospital. If you owned your own medical practice, then you will be considered free, meaning that you are the authority. I might have a whole computer for you. And so one of the things that we want to go about today is this: who is your owner? Who owns your title? Who gave you that title? Was that title appointed to you? Was that title given to you by you, or was it given to you by your supervisor? And so basically, we want to narrow down the title. We don't want to make slavery. When I'm saying slavery, I want to qualify my statement. I don't want you to think that I'm talking about slavery based upon race. I'm not talking about slavery based upon race. I'm not talking about slavery based upon your economic status. I'm not talking about slavery based upon where you were born, what neighborhood you from. I'm talking about strictly slavery from an aspect: do you control the resources that you make a living with? If you don't control those resources that you made a living with, then you have indentured yourself into a contract with an employer, with a master, with someone who has the ability to provide work and stable income, because for one reason or another, the abilities that the creator gave you, you can't do it on your own. You have to do it with the help of not a business partner, but an employer. So this is where we get the classifications from. This is where we start to realize who's who and what's what. You know, just like the slave. If you go to work and you have a good day, then the company had a good day. Isn't that correct? You had a good day personally, but the company had a good day. If you make something, if you create an invention on that job during those hours of work, the company made an invention, didn't they? So it was just like the slave. He may have created the cotton gin. He may have created this. He may have created on whose plantation, with whose tools, on whose time, whose nigga was that? More importantly, you see, and that's who gets the reward. That's who gets the reward, and that's who the one who is gratified and gets the patent. And you may give this operator the credit for the discovery, but it's in partnership with the owner of the company and with the company that servant represents. So at the end of the day, are you making hits for your company? Are you making gains for your company? Are you making gains for your own company? Is those rewards going to your boss's children and you getting an hourly wage? Are you trading your hours for wages? Or are you creating your own work and making your own job? Or are you providing hourly wages for others? You know? And so those things are the questions. And if you can answer those questions to yourself, you don't have to answer them to me. You don't have to answer to nobody. Answer them to yourself. And then, so the first question is this: who do you work for? Who is your owner? Then you ask the major question: are you a slave? And the answer should be yes, no matter what. No matter what, because no matter if you even if you own your own business, even if you a business owner, you should be a slave to something or somebody. You should be a slave to the creator ultimately. So ultimately, the answer should be yes. Hopefully, hopefully you're not a master of your own destiny and all these type of things to the ultimate degree where we think we have full control. Ultimately, we are a slave to the creator. But outside of that, who are you a slave to? Is it the clock? Is it the 9 to 5? Is it the job that gave you the position? Who gave you the position and the title you hold? Did you create it and write it down on a piece of paper and gave it to yourself? Because if you did, then that's what freedom is. If you didn't, that's a sign that you may not be free. You was given a label, you was given a title, you was given a position by somebody. Now ask yourself, who, who, ask yourself who gave you the title. Are you the CEO? If you're the CEO, you can be a CEO of a company. Let's get way deep into it. You can be a CEO of a company and still not be a free man because you didn't create that company. You were hired by the board. You are an employee. You don't get a 1099 as an independent contractor. You don't get a Schedule C. You get a W-2 or a W-4 because that's the definition right there. If you get a W-2 and a W-4, then you are a slave. You are indebted. You are contracted to a particular corporation, a company, a owner, a person, something. I guarantee you, because the simple fact, if you are a corporation, then you are a slave. If you are an employee to your own corporation, I could establish a corporation today, become an employee of my own corporation, and be a slave to my own corporation because I put myself in that situation. Now, how do you become free from being a slave to your own corporation? You will have to be a director. You will have to be a shareholder. One of these things. If you become an officer of that corporation, then you are in contracted to be a servant, an employee to that corporation at that point. And so it's not an easy matter. It's not something that's just as simple as black and white. And in this country, in this type of environment that we come up in, we think slavery is something based on skin color, and it's not. It is to a certain degree in America, but it's not in reality. Slavery is something that's universal. You have servants, you have different levels of slaves. You have servants that indentured themselves voluntarily. You have slaves that have came if they capture you in a raid in the jump outs come in and capture you in a raid and you say you didn't do anything, then you held against your own will, for an indefinite period of time, depending on what evidence they claim they found when they found you. So based on that, you become a slave against your own will. So you might become a slave. You go to another country and they're in the middle of a civil war and they decide that you need to be detained. Then you become a political prisoner or a slave at that point. If you go to the jail and you stay there long enough, they put you on detail and you get on UNICEF and Unicor and all that money. That's you become a slave at that point. If you go out there and get a job and then put yourself under employee contract, you become a slave at that point. If you it's so many ways. If you go out there and just create work for yourself and make your own job and enslave yourself to that, then you become a slave to that. If you create a system that depends on people and systems, then you become a master. The minute that you create systems, you become a master. A master creates systems. A master learns a subject and topic, and they also learn the ability to create a system to put people in it, put people in the right role and with the right goals. You know what I mean? With the right role, right goals, and the right people. So when you have become a master, then you can say, hey, I want to open up a medical practice, but I'm not going to necessarily be a slave to it. I'm going to hire the best medical professionals and that I can find that want to work with me. I'm going to put them in under under my corporation. I'm gonna we're gonna go to what is the employer. That's what I'm saying. The mindset that the master has is that they want the money from doing the work, but they don't necessarily have to be the one doing the work. They know it's someone out there that's better than them, that's more capable than them, that's stronger than them, that's more able than them, that can take the heat longer than them, that can take more mosquito bites than them, that can take more wax at the stick than they could, that can take more abuse than they can. They know it's someone out there that's willing to make $100,000 a year so they can make $1,000,000 a year. They know it's somebody out there that's willing to make $10 an hour so they can make $100 an hour. They know it's someone out there that needs to make $50,000 a year so they can go on and make $50,000 a month. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the way a master thinks. A master knows these things. A master knows that everybody hasn't been done what it takes to become a master. And those people will have to work for a master. When you have created a certain level of skill and you have a skill set, people have to seek you out and they have to hire you. When you don't know enough about law, you go seek out a lawyer. When you don't know enough about medicine, you go seek out a doctor. When you don't know enough about training, you go get a trainer. When you don't know nothing about what you need to know about, you go get a coach. When you have these are all masters. And this is the objective to become a master. The creator gave everybody a skill set to become a master in it, and it's up to you to become a master in it, or you will be a slave to everything else. It's just that simple. So first, who is your master? And then ask that second question. Are you still a slave? In 2021. In 2021, are you still a slave? And if the answer is yes or no, no, it was a choice. If the answer was yes or no, you had to know simply it's a choice. Your best thinking got you to where you was at. No matter if you were a master or if you were a slave, your best thinking got you to where you at, to the point where if you answer the question accurately and correctly, you will honestly make an assessment and know you put yourself in that situation. Yeah, you put yourself in that situation for you know what I mean. So at the end of the day, a master must know what it takes the mindset that he must have to become a master, and the employee must know the mindset he must have to become a a good employee. And that master is seeking what? Freedom. Employee, entrepreneur is seeking freedom. You know, they seeking freedom. So you know what I'm saying? They seeking freedom. So employer, like I said, they're seeking freedom, but the employee most of the time is seeking security. The, the employee is seeking security. The master is seeking freedom for the most part. So you had that struggle between freedom and security. And so that's basically what you have for the most part. You have freedom versus security. And so what side of the ball, what side of the field are you on? Are you on the side of freedom or are you on the side of security? And once you determine that question for yourself, you'll find it easier to understand and digest what I'm saying. If you are one that prefers security, then you understand you're not going to take those risks. You're looking for a paycheck. You think it takes money to make money. You think all of these type of things that'll keep you in a security mindset. Well, think about it versus thriving versus surviving. That's another thing. An entrepreneur and a master, their number one objective is not to just survive, but to thrive. And that's the way they live their life. And that's how, when you talk to them, you'll find out that that's how they started their companies for the most part, in the effort to thrive, not just simply survive. And so, on the opposite side of the thing, you see that the employees, a lot of times, they just want to survive. They just want to simply survive, and they just want the simple things. They just want a house to stay there in 30 years, and maybe they can pass it down to their kids and things like that. If you talk to most entrepreneurs, they tell you living in a house for 30 years and 20 years is a sign of doom and failure. In case that's a strategic asset that's in the portfolio for a reason, then that's not why. You don't want to stay anywhere for 30 years. You don't want to stay anywhere for 20 years. It's not about the mindset is not about, oh, I just want to make sure I have a spot for my kids. The mindset is, I'm gonna hustle hard today so my kids don't have to live where we living at today, tomorrow. You see, if you go for security, then you preserving the exact same thing that you had today for tomorrow. And no difference, no changes are made, no gains are made, no expansion. You stay in the same spot. You stay stuck. You just appreciate, you're appreciative for the things that everybody else seem to take for granted. And it's a mindset. And it's the difference between a predator and a prey. And it go, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the answer. That's the question for the day. Are you a slave? Are you still a slave in 2021? In 2021, who can you complain? If you are a slave, who can you complain to? What product or service do you have? What product or service do you create? What product or service do you know how to make? What product or service are you in the process of making at this moment? What product and service do you have control of at this moment? If the answer is nothing, then that's the reason. Did the creator give you skills? Did the creators give you hobbies and desires and dreams? And you did not, you know, do you even know that you can make a living off of any one of those? And it's up to you when you want to, how you want to, why you want to, or is it just, haven't came to fruition yet? So this is these questions that I'm asking are for you to answer yourself. Answer these questions to yourself, because this is the difference between the master and the slave. See, the master goes around and they look for slaves to hire for their projects. The slaves look for projects to live in and to work in. Slaves want to live in the projects, not just work on a project. See, they're big and they'll go off if you won't make space for them on your project, but they won't build a project for themselves because it's about security. It's about day-to-day security. It's about surviving. It's never about thriving. They can't think about thriving. So they're begging the thrivers to help them survive. And when the thrivers are no longer interested in keeping them and maintaining the survivors, then it's a battle between the haves and the have-nots. That's not the truth. That's a form of slavery within itself. It's no haves and it's no have-nots. It's slaves and it's masters. And there's pigeons and there's eagles. There's hawks and there's falcons. Whatever one that people may be is not the responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the eagle because the pigeon is the way he is, and it's not the responsibility of the pigeon because the way the eagle is. They both had to coexist, and they had to find a way. A pigeon's going to eat Fritos, Cheetos, Dorito, whatever you find out the trash, anything. A pigeon's going to eat that. They thinking about surviving. They don't care about anything. They just want to be comfortable and survive. That's the definition of a pigeon. When you never see a pigeon striving for a kill. You never see a pigeon in high altitudes. You never see a pigeon on his own, chilling and scoping out the next opportunity. You never see a pigeon at the lake, at the at in eating herbs and making his nest with big sticks and herbs and trees and stuff like that. You see the pigeon squatting and breaking in stuff and destroying property and whatever somebody built, they gonna get up in that. They gonna get up in there and they gonna destroy and they gonna shit on and they gonna piss on any. They don't care. It's just like that, and that's just how the life of a pigeon is. Now, what about an eagle? Don't they get up early? Don't they go out for the kill? Don't they stand alone? Don't they stand against the odds? Ain't they up there? Don't they teach their children in a different manner? Don't they teach their children to stay away from the pigeons? Don't they kill pigeons? When don't they do what they want to do? And the other birds do what they can do. Don't you see the lion walk out there with boldness and know who he is and have full knowledge and confidence of his abilities? He's not worried about his weaknesses and what he can't do, knowing that the lion they can't do a lot. They can't run faster than a lot of them. They're not stronger than a lot of them animals. They're not quicker. They're not more agile. None of that. But the lion got the lion mentality, and he knows who he is. He knows he masters some key abilities that if he hold on tight to them, then he's going to maintain his position. And if he strays away from them, he doesn't deserve a position. Let alone is he going to survive. And so it's the same thing with us as human beings. We had the ability to choose. We not animals. We not dogs. We not none of that. We not bitches. We not none of that. So we have to understand that if you're going to claim that you're a free person, you have to know what it is that you're claiming. You can't you can't be going along to get along. You can't be get with. You can't be niggardly. You can't be a lack of not a student of knowledge, but a student of a lack of knowledge. You can't be with the wrong breed and then claim that you a different breed than what you clearly are. For example, you can't be with the hyenas, but the whole time you a lion, or you claiming to be a lion, but you a hyena, but you hanging with the lion. A lion can hang. A hyena can hang with the one hyena can hang with a pack of lions, but that one lion can't hang with a pack of hyenas. You see, and that's the difference. You see what I'm saying? And that's what you got to make the determination. What type of person? Who are you? And then, are you a free person? And are you still a slave? And if not, who's your master? If the creator is not your master alone, but you have your boss, you know what I'm saying, the creator, and then society, and then everybody else, and then you already know what the answer is. You know, if you get paid in a W-2 and you're going to clock in on the clock and you don't have no business partners and you're not working on your business when you get off, if you're not working two jobs, one, your business, the other, your master's business, and you're not being a good servant and a good employee and a good slave to your master, honoring your contract, you know, doing going the extra mile without getting paid, without being acknowledged, and doing it with a good positive attitude, and two, the reward come in. If you're not doing that, know that you're not playing your role. Are you a good slave? Are you a good servant? Are you honoring your contract? Do you want the most? And then at the end of the day, you don't want to give. You want an hour worth of pay, but you don't want to give nothing during that hour. You want to do the less during the whole hour. Enough something for nothing mentality you developing as a slave. If you were the owner, if you were the boss, you would have to be the janitor, the security man, the cashier, the customer service man, the tech man, everybody, security, everything. What you gonna do then? You can't duck then. So as you are a slave and you ducking your work and you ducking your master and you thinking you getting over, you really are in debt and you really putting yourself further in the hole. It's nothing to do but carry water and chop wood as a slave. You should enjoy that. That's what you signed up for. And that's what you should get strong doing. And that's what you should enjoy doing. And you should go the extra mile if you want to get paid more. If not, then I guess you're getting paid what you already should be getting paid. Let's put it like that. If you're not willing to go the extra mile, then you're getting paid everything you should be getting paid. Because if only people that's willing to get a raise or that's qualified for a raise are the people that done more for a significant period of time, without begging to be seen. And then when it's time to be seen, that's observed and calculated and it's noted, and the raise it is what it is. But for those that think they are taking the easy way out, you really are creating a worse slave, and you are really inheriting these skills, and you might pass them on to your future generations. So it's not what you make at a place; it's what you become at a place. You see. And for the slaves, it's not how long you live, but it's how you live. You see? So no matter how much of a coward you are, no matter how brave you are, when it's time to go, is you gonna go. And when that's what the unfortunate reality is. So it's better to chase your dreams and to do what you need to do and to master the skills that the creator gave you to master. If not, then you have to bear the brunt of the consequences that come with not taking those blessings and those gifts that the creator gave you. You see? And so what we need to do, the black business tip for the day and the challenge for the day is going to be let's take a note of all our skills, all our all our notable skills and talents that we got, and let's write them down, and then let's see how we can make a living off of these things. Let's make some income off of each one of these things, and these will be our income stream. Like you got to have multiple income streams. Let each one of these talents and skills become one of your income streams, and start there. Create a family corporation with yourself and your family, your husband and wife if you're married, you know, put the kids on, everybody, and get it done. And everybody incorporate their dreams, and as they get of age, they start to write down their skills and make those things a reality because that's the only thing that's gonna make it work. When you look at people around the world and you see why they winning, it's because they follow a natural way of living. They follow a natural way of life. They're not reinventing the wheel. They haven't let somebody come tell them what's right is left and what's left is right and come show them a white picture of something and people believe it and then they end up indebting themselves to this religion in this way and etc. A lot of things that go on in this country is bogus, man. It's really bogus, and it leads to people having this economic condition where we just stifle and we set and we sitting back waiting for a government to hand us something. Sitting back waiting for the government to hand you something. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You sitting back waiting for the government to hand you something, to give you a hand up. When anything the government gives you, you need to use that on your own and pull yourself up by your bootstraps with it. Meaning that if you got an EBT card, go buy some Kool-Aid, sell Kool-Aid. It don't have to be Kool-Aid. Do whatever you want. Buy fruit, buy Kool-Aid, buy Betty Crocker cake mix, buy your own baking ingredients, make your own cake, make cookies, whatever you got to do, get it done. If you have a car, you are already fully funded and subsidized by the United States of America. No one is in your way. Only the mentality that you have developed from wherever we have developed it from is in the way. Are you still a slave in 2021? After the stimulus came out, after they released you from the office place, they released you from the rat race. They gave you all these technical tools that you can depend on. You don't even have to physically show up in court no more. You can run on these people and digitally now. Are you still a slave in 2021? It's impossible, man, for it not to be a choice. And so, if this is the choice that we have made in the past, let's make some better choices in the future, man. Let's go forward in 2022 and let's make it happen. Let's go forth in 2022. Let's make it happen. Let's get it done. The rest of 2021, if you just gonna plan it out to shoot off in 2022, let's do that, man. But to repeat decade after decade of the same cycle, same quote and the same take money to make money, good thing come to those who wait, etc., etc., etc. That ain't gonna work, man. That ain't gonna work. It's not. And so, like, if it's working for you and your job is paying your bills, I'm not saying everybody who works is poor. No, no, no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that your future generations, yourself, deserve to be the master of yourself, and they deserve to be free. They want freedom, bro. And only one that can give freedom is the Creator, and the Creator gives it when He created you and He made you who you are. It's not a skin color that makes you a slave. That's back in the day. That was the case during that particular conflict. And it may be similar going forward, but right now, you got to understand one thing. Slavery is a choice. First, start working for yourself and take back your freedom in every other aspect of your life. That's my Black business rant. Who's your master? And are you still a slave? Answer them two questions. And let's get it popping, man. Let's get it popping. Black business man.